hey, if you want to get excited to be somewhere, get excited for a free 7-day trial of our Patreon. Get in the Discord.
It's a great community. I mean,
It
it's
really is.
all the different channels that we have, all the different groupings of those channels. We have everything from DFS and betting to college and Devy to game day chats to, what we're doing in the upcoming draft class general chats. We just have memes every now and then because that's always fun. Look, it's a great time. And I've mentioned it before. I'm going to mention it this time again. If you're Goldie, there might be something extra in it for you. So
it's true.
There's an extra channel for you.
I would love to see you there. Plenty of room for everybody. But there's not room for these players on our roster anymore. Nate, we've had it.
Done.
We've had it with these guys. We're dumping them. Here's the thing. These are guys that we're unclogging from our roster like a toilet that's got some nasty stuff in it. We want to get them off the roster before 2024. You're not going to get anything if you try to trade them. You're just not. So let's get these guys off there. And we're talking about players who are currently rostered on over 50% of all sleeper leagues. Nate, who are you starting with?
Starting out with Isaiah Spiller. A running back that I know that we both liked coming out of college last year. Didn't really work out, though. He ended up being a day 3 pick. Just saying. Guy that we thought was going to be day 2 talent ended up being a day 3 pick. And look what's happened so far. Mike, this man has not even surpassed 100 rushing yards in his career yet to this point.
Yeah, in the 12 games he's played, 36 carries for 87 yards.
That's 2.4 yards per carry.
And his long is 11. And he has 6 receptions for 33 yards on his career. I mean, this is honestly, I hope he goes somewhere. He's 22.
Yeah, he's still young. I thought he had talent, but look, he did outsnap Josh Kelly this past week.
Ooh.
But I don't think anyone there is the future of the backfield for the Chargers. There's a new coach coming in. Eckler is toast.
He's done.
And Spiller and Kelly are not leaders of a backfield. I don't think either one are even set up to be a 2 in a backfield. They're decent 3s to have around just in case you need someone. Isaiah Spiller, look, he is rostered in 50% of sleeper leagues. If you can move him for a 4th or a 5th, try it. If not, and you got to make some room on the roster, Isaiah Spiller is a cut candidate for me.
Sadly, yeah. And as much as I love the guy, but, it gets to this point when you're thinking about a player like this, can I find another Isaiah Spiller in the next rookie class? And that's a new thing that I've been saying to myself. I have to put aside how I feel about a player. If I can easily replace that guy in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round of a rookie draft, then I'm going to move on. I'm going to just get myself that valuable roster space heading into the playoffs, and I'm not looking back. And then I'm going to cut Donovan Peoples-Jones because all he's done is really piss me off this year.
That's sad.
And I got to take an L here on this one. I was telling people I'm trading a 2nd-round pick for Donovan Peoples-Jones. And to be honest with you, at that time, it looked like it was going to be a good thing. Coming off a good year in Cleveland, I had high expectations for him. So did 59% of all people on Sleeper because that's how many leagues he's rostered in. He was traded to Detroit, and he has been a non-factor. Look at this, his 2023 season. 9 catches, 114 yards, and no touchdowns. And that's combined. And as a Lion, 1 catch for 17 yards and no touchdowns. Unstartable is just the understatement of the century. What is Cleve Raymond? Let's see, because he's still there.
Cleve Raymond's still there, yeah.
Yeah,
he's a good returner. He's always going to be around.
But on the season, Cleve Raymond has 29 catches, 387 yards, and 1 touchdown. He's been more startable. Josh Reynolds has been putting up some good stats here and there. He's been a little spotty. There's no room for Donovan Peoples-Jones on that
I
team.
don't know why they traded for him, to be quite honest.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I feel like Cleveland could use him more.
Well, they obviously made a choice for Cedric Tillman over Donovan Peoples-Jones. But, going in this offseason, he was a candidate to, kind of be a breakout candidate this year.
I thought so.
Did not happen.
I mean, look, last year in 2022, he played in all 17 games, 61 catches, 839 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Good season, man.
The talent's there. And that's as the wide receiver, too. That's with Amari Cooper there.
That's what Jacoby Brissett and then the super rusty Deshaun Watson.
You can't tell me that the talent's not there. I mean, the hope is he goes somewhere else. And you know what? At that point in time, you just
pick him off the waiver wire then.
You throw a fab buck at him. But you need there's guys out there that are playing that are getting points where, yeah. So,
I don't think you're too worried about dropping Donovan Peoples-Jones and having someone else pick him up right now.
oh
He'll probably
no.
be the round later.
Yeah. Nate,
Speaking of guys who are going to be around later,
he's the epitome of it. Who you got?
this is Greg Dortch, man. He is like the ultimate waiver wire wide receiver.
Oh,
This
great.
man shows up when you need him to, when he is the last wide receiver on the depth chart, but otherwise, count him out most of the time. So look, just drop him and pick him up next time that you need him, because he's not worth keeping on your roster. I know he's had like 2 games this season where he had double-digit points, but Michael Wilson's there, Marquise Brown's there. They are a huge candidate to add a wide receiver early in this draft coming up. Greg Dortch will not have a place there. I think he'll always kind of be relevant at times. So in large leagues, I don't mind keeping Greg Dortch at the very end of your bench. But in most leagues, look, he's rostered in 57% of leagues. Most of those leagues, probably you can put him on the waiver wire. Just pick him up later when there's an injury to the Cardinals. I know, hey, I'm going to have to spend my fab dollars then. I want to weaponize my fab. I want to keep my fab. That's great, but Greg Dortch isn't doing much for you right now until there's an injury. So, like Mike said, open up that playoff spot, that bench spot for the playoffs, and use that to your advantage. Get guys that are going to make an impact for your team now. Now, if you don't need to cut any of these guys, obviously don't just go through and cut players on your team. But we're getting to the point of the season. You got to pick up maybe some players on the waiver wire to make a difference in the playoffs, or to find somebody that might have potential to become a better asset in 2024. These are the guys you're going to have to cut to make room.
It's true. And, Greg Dortch reminds me a lot of Zach Pascal. When Zach Pascal was with the Colts a couple years ago, couple redraft leagues, I'd pick him up, play him. He'd get me 7 or 8 points. I'd drop him again right away. Another injury, another bye week, pick him right back up, play him, drop him again. You do that with some of these guys, and that's just how it is, and that's fine. They serve a purpose for a week or two. You let them go. I understand you want to weaponize your fab like I like to do it, but you got to use your fab too. This is why I always ask for it in trades. People think it's foolish, but when it comes to the playoff times and I could drop $83 on Easton Stick or whatever it is, that's why you have it. I hate to do it on Easton Stick, but I want to win too. Doesn't have to be sexy. Just has to have a W next to it.
That's all.
Just like Jamaal Williams' last name starts.
There you go.
Jamaal Williams is rostered in 77% of roster leagues, and he's unstartable. He's missed three games with a hamstring strain. He's been unstartable ever since. Check this out. 63 carries, 190 yards, no touchdowns. 9 carries, 34 yards, no touch. I'm sorry, 9 catches, 9 receptions, 34 yards, and no touchdowns. I mean, Jamaal Williams, this is a guy who's coming off a season.
A lot of touchdowns last year. That's the most surprising thing, is that he doesn't have a single touchdown yet. They haven't used him to get in the end zone yet.
17 touchdowns last year in Detroit, 1,066 yards. And as a receiver, he was pretty good as a receiver too. Well, not a ton, but he's been good as a receiver in the past.
Yeah, he was a much better receiver with the Packers.
Yeah, in 2019, 39 catches, 253 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So he can do it. This is not the Jamaal Williams we know. He's pushing 30. He's going to start hitting that cliff. I'm just ready to cut bait. I can't put the guy in my starting lineup. Just can't. Go to Pro Football Reference and look at his profile picture. He looks insane. And it's also insane how much I love you and I'll miss you as you hold on to this commercial break.
Hey guys, Bob here, dropping by to interrupt your scheduled programming to thank today's trusted partner, Mint Mobile. I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for ways to save money, especially during the holidays. And it always shocked me to see what I was paying when it came to my wireless bill. I couldn't help but think, what am I even paying so much money for? Am I paying for speed, coverage, data, access to 5G, unlimited talk and text, mobile hotspots, you name it. I was paying so much money, while Mint Mobile offers all of these features for as low as $15 a month. And I know what you're thinking. It was my first thought too. How can they only charge $15 a month for that much coverage? It's easy. They keep it simple. For starters, they're built on the nation's largest 5G network, and they keep costs low by only selling online. This means no pushy sales rep trying to earn a commission or brick and mortar locations. The cost is great, and don't worry, they made switching easy too. This is all thanks to the Mint Mobile app and digital eSIMs that most phones now have. This means you can sign up and activate your phone from the comfort of your own home and start saving today. And as an ad note, if your phone isn't compatible with a digital eSIM, they'll send you a physical new SIM card for free. Switching was a breeze, and now I'm saving money while enjoying all the same YouTube videos, streaming NFL games, and listening to podcasts just like I used to. All of this without any drop in video quality, speed, or performance. And the last thing I'll say is this: big wireless companies want you to think that they're the only option. And quite frankly, that's just not the case. We all deserve a wireless plan that works for us on our budget. And now through January 1st, you'll receive an additional 3 months free when you sign up for a 3-month plan using our link, trymintmobile.com/Dynasty Rewind. The link will be on the screen in the YouTube description as well as in the pinned comment below. Thank you all so much for listening and supporting this brand as much as you do, and a huge shout out to our new partners at Mint Mobile. But with all of that said, let's get right back to the content you came for.
All right, welcome back, everybody. And Nate's tugging at my heartstrings here.
Oh, am I?
Sure. So I was trading seconds for this guy at one point in time, but a lot of people were. We were drafting him highly. Another case of the talent's there. What's happening?
Mike,
Yo,
this is ridiculous at this point. What are we doing? What are 50% of leagues on Sleeper doing rostering Chase Claypool at this point?
I don't know. You tell me.
What has Chase Claypool done for any of these teams in the past 2 years? And he's still rostered. I get it. He had a lot of potential when he came into the league. He was a tweener, to be quite honest, because we talked about, should Chase Claypool be a tight end? Should he be a wide receiver? He was somewhere in between. And the Steelers found a good way to use him, but he couldn't develop into the true wide receiver that they needed him to be. And he hasn't been able to do that anywhere else either. Now with the Bears, now he's with the Dolphins, hasn't really gotten on the field there. So at this point, I am more than happy to give up on Chase Claypool. I gave up on Chase Claypool a while ago.
Yeah.
And if 50% of leagues still haven't, I honestly don't know why. This is your sign to just go ahead and cut Chase Claypool.
It's a shame, man. 2 good years starting out, over 800 yards, 9 touchdowns as a rookie. And Chase Claypool is going to be that guy that kicks around the league for a while, and
And clogs up your roster. So
he'll resurface somewhere and flash for a game or two, and then you'll go pick him up and you'll start him, and he will do absolutely nothing for another year.
flip him for a fourth.
Yeah,
when you get a
that's
chance.
going to be his trajectory from here on out. Probably say the same thing about Los Angeles Rams running back Zach Evans. He's rostered in 69% of leagues. Now, this one doesn't surprise me as much because he's a rookie, and a lot of these sleeper leagues are dynasty leagues. So, people are still holding out hope. They don't want to cut bait too early. But at the same point, I'm talking about guys, if I could find another Isaiah Spiller, I'm willing to move on. You could find another Zach Evans. I mean, look, This was the spot for him. Remember, we said if he was going to be good or at least startable anywhere, it would be in Los Angeles. Remember, we said that. You and I said that. Guess who was wrong? You and I were wrong about that.
I wasn't wrong.
He's that bad, though. I mean, look, the Los Angeles Rams cut their star running back. They took Darrell Henderson off of the scrap heap, and they still wouldn't play Zach Evans. 8 carries for 16 yards on the season.
That's tough, man.
I don't know what to say about this guy at this point. If you can't get on the field after they cut their starting running back, it's got to be over. If you got a deep league and you want to stash him, stash him. But
I got to be quite honest. Zach Evans, his football career has been on a downward trend since high school.
Yeah.
He was a top recruit coming out of high school, had a whole recruiting fiasco where he committed and decommitted from a couple of schools. Now that's kind of just the norm. Went to TCU. There was just some not anything large off the field, but just some things going on with, how he wanted to be used. Ended up transferring to Ole Miss, got outplayed by Quinshon Judkins, who's an incredible running back himself.
Yeah.
Ended up getting drafted day 3, pretty late day 3. Can't even make it with the Rams onto the field. It's just been a downward slope the entire time. Yeah, I don't know why he's still rostered in 69% of leagues.
If I recall correctly, when we were going through the whole process, I'm pretty sure I told you that TCU Zach Evans was better than Ole Miss Zach Evans.
Well, it's the Big 12, man. You got a lot more room to run.
But he looked so disinterested as a player at Ole Miss. He avoided contact. There were times where all he had to do was cut in and just brush a defender off, and he could have either got a first down and extended a play. He was just not interested in that at all. And I thought he was a good pick in the 6th round. I think he was. You take guys like this in the 6th round. But apparently I was wrong because the dude can't get on the field.
Zach Evans, from the day he stepped on college campus, he believed he was going to be an NFL running back, which he is. So congrats to him for that. He's very talented.
Good for you.
But from day one, he was, I'm going to be an NFL running back. I want to be used in college appropriately for my NFL career. Well, if you want to be a really good NFL running back, you got to show it in college. And, Zach Evans, he had flashes, but never reached those heights.
For example, former UDFA and Fresno State running back Ronnie Rivers outpaced Zach Evans. Okay.
Yeah.
13 carries, 57 yards this year. I mean, it's not a ton more.
Doesn't take much.
No, but I mean, he's averaging 4.4 yards per carry, which is pretty good in the NFL. It's not bad.
Better than the 2 yards per carry that Zach Evans is averaging.
Exactly. It is. Ronnie Rivers, who's on injured reserve, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
Nate?
This guy just keeps popping up everywhere, doesn't he? Mecole Hardman.
The Tyreek Hill replacement. The one,
still rostered in 50% of leagues, Mike.
Killing me.
Now, I will say he's on IR right now. So if he's just chilling in your IR, that's totally fine. But if your team looks anything like any of my teams at this point, you probably need to open up an IR spot.
I need to add about 10 more.
Exactly. I need to open up an IR spot from one of my players that actually it matters so I can stash them for next year.
Yeah.
So Mecole Hardman, whether he's on your bench or IR, he probably needs to go. Look, he did not break 300 yards last year. So far in this season, he has 47 receiving yards. Look, the Jets didn't – maybe if Aaron Rodgers was there, something different would have happened. But he couldn't get on the field for the Jets. He got traded back to the Chiefs. They even with their terrible wide receiver room, they couldn't really get him back out there and doing anything. And he's always been a very limited player, like a very much a role player, which nothing wrong with that. He's a good player at getting down the field and, creating some big plays, but he's not going to be consistent for you. We have seen that now. In 2021, he was wide receiver 48. That was his career best. Wide receiver 48. Coming off a season with less than 300 yards, this season he's probably not going to break 100. Definitely time to move on from Mecole Hardman. Sorry.
I had strongly considered putting his teammate Sky Moore on here.
Yeah, I think you can make a case for it. The thing is, as you know, Sky Moore still has some trade value.
Yes, which is why I didn't put him on here, but he's another guy who I was kind of pounding the drum for a little bit before the season, and it just hasn't happened. On the flip side, Rashee Rice has come on pretty nicely for the Chiefs as far as their wide receiver room goes. Let's talk about my last guy, Robert Woods. It's time.
It is.
He's rostered in 67% of leagues. He's going to be 32 soon, which in football terms means he's ready to be walked into a crypt. He had a foot sprain that limited him this season. The Texans have plenty of younger and better, to be frank, options. His production has been going down every year since 2019. I'd try to trade him if I could, but I would release him if necessary because he could be a liability in your starting lineups. And I understand the Tank Dell's hurt. Nico Collins is a little banged up. Xavier Hutchinson, could be time for him. Could be time for maybe John Mechie to get going a little bit, which I hope happens soon. I have a lot of hope. John.
Otherwise, he's going to be on here next year.
Yeah, exactly. He might be on here in a couple weeks if you piss me off.
I'm so excited, Mike, for Robert Woods to just go off as the wide receiver 1 for the Texans rest of the season.
And he probably will now that I said that.
Make you look silly for this.
Yeah. You know what? Wait a week. Wait a week until you try to drop Robert Woods. How's that sound?
Hey, if it looks good, you just sell him, right? He's a sell candidate then.
Here's the last 2 games I have for Robert Woods, which was against the Broncos and against the Jets. Against the Broncos, not a single target. Didn't sniff anything. All right. Against the Jets, he had 3 targets, 1 catch for -2 yards.
It's not great.
His best game on the season came in week 2. 6 catches for 74 yards. Week 1 was 6 for 57. So, okay. We're in double digits. We're okay. Mm-hmm. And then after that, 3 for 34, 3 for 26, 3 for 30, 1 for 6, and a touchdown. All right, thanks. 1 for 15, 5 for 44, 2 for 40, then the goose egg and a -2. So you could see, yeah, is he going to be the wide receiver 1 for the Texans?
Maybe in theory.
Yeah, in theory or past accomplishments, yes, you're the wide receiver 1 for the Texans, but you're not. His name is Nico Collins.
Sorry, Bobby Trees. You've been a great value for so long, but
yes,
everything comes to an end.
Really fun watching you and your career. Congratulations for having 2 seasons over 1,000 yards and 1 that was really close, but it is time. Just like it's time for us to go. It's been fun. We will see you guys next time. Good luck in the playoffs. Hopefully you won your first week, unless you're playing me and Nate. See you guys.